Hi, it's Marina from Jungle, and welcome to another one of these funny little episodes of the Workplace Edit, where we do three things for you. Me, as a re-engineer and someone from the management consulting sector who has worked for probably over 25 years in this sector, tells you a little story, some juicy little bit of gossip to hopefully validate you in some part of your work life that you're like, oh my God, this is me, this is happening. We're going to give you some words on it. Second thing is I will then give you an analysis as an old person and an old professional to say, okay, so this is what's really going on from an analytical, from the language of re-engineers. And then the third will give you some tips, pat on the back, maybe even just like a little hug to make you feel less alone and give you some ideas on how you can deal with it going forward. All right, today's topic is around toxic teams and how do we as re-engineers get that feedback of being like mind readers and, oh my God, you're so clever. How did you know this team was actually so, gross, even though they're also likable and charming? Well, we got trained, man. We're looking for things on it. Now I'm going to lean on your imagination here and imagine we've got a 2x2 matrix let's do that. And on one side, doesn't really matter which one, on one side is a gradient with low to high, and the topic is interpersonal skills or interpersonal professional skills. And what we would do is rate a team and individuals against that gradient to see how well they fit on these interpersonal skills. And interpersonal professional skills are things like conflict management. Do they know how to deal with things in a good way? Are they able to have difficult conversations? Are they reliable? Do they allow people to enter an ecosystem and be productive with them? Do they deal with authority appropriately? Do they manage their time appropriately? Do they have a growth mindset? Or are they just constantly like Dora having to be retrained every time they go out for lunch on it? That's that sort of weird section of things that we do when we rock up to work every day and all the different skills that we call upon to perform our work. Now, the other side of it is very team specific, where we look at the functional aspects of a team and the expected output, and then we rate the team of how well they're actually performing against that expectation. So if you have risk and governance team, okay? So we would then do a functional decomposition, we would ask questions, we would observe how these functions actually laid out within the team, and then we would be looking for linkages around the expectations of the people performing the work. Did they know what to do? Do they know what success looks like? Are they trained? Are there other instruments that hold this stuff together that allow those competencies to grow over time? That is what a capability is. You also have very clearly the what of what is being done and also the how of how stuff's being done as well. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So what happens with toxic teams? Yeah, one of those things is falling apart. You either have a group of people, and I'm going to affectionately call them clowns, all right? I'm not talking about just normal people. I'm talking about toxic people. So these folks have never developed professional interpersonal skills. And for whatever reason, they've been allowed to do that. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, friends. This is where we're engineers, we get the feedback that we somehow look like detectives or whatever. No, we all got trained, right? We were in the old days of when things actually, you had to be trained in stuff before you're allowed to do it. So what you get trained in is that when you see people who are bold and they are violating lots of different parts of basic interpersonal professional skills, you can be pretty confident that this has been going on for a while. People don't just suddenly go out one day and start going, hey, you know what? I'm just never going to do my action item allocated to me. They don't start doing that in one day. And it doesn't happen to be the day that you go and do a review. It happens over time, lots and lots of time. Bigger the violation, the longer the time. Simples, very simple. Now, the thing that you look for as a re-engineer when we are trying to remediate this stuff is the existence of the instruments that are used to hold together interpersonal skills and keep people on the right trajectory. One-on-ones. We ask, when was the last time the team members had a one-on-one, which is a mutual exchange of feedback to go, hey, you're doing really well here. This area not doing so great. I'm going to give you some feedback from other stakeholders. and allow people solid, unbiased, caring feedback to be able to allow people to progress and enhance their interpersonal skills. If one-on-ones are not in existence, or they've just deteriorated into, let's go have a coffee and talk about the weekend, and you're seeing evidence that interpersonal skills have decayed, you got some problems to fix there, friends. Second one, on the other side, getting stuff done. So we do it at the same time. We're looking at functions and we're going, okay, great. Functional elements, what do you guys do for a living? When you turn up, what are you doing? And just say it's something, one of those weird knowledge worker roles like, I don't know, strategy or risk. I don't know, something that's a little bit wobbly. It doesn't actually matter how wobbly they are. If they're repetitive tasks, or, I don't know, you have purpose and you're taking cash from whatever organisation to deliver the capability, you must have an understanding of what productivity looks like, or what does output look like associated with that capability. There's got to be something somewhere. Unless, of course, you've got these naughty mouse teams who have no instruments or no artifacts that actually set out what you guys do every day. I'm not talking like a service catalog, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something really simple that says, hey, so what do you do? I do the alignment for strategy plans. It could be that simple, but something that is crystal clear and it works actively to get rid of ambiguity. Just get rid of it. And then you're able to judge how well you are proving over time, making you more productive. And that might include, I get better at, I don't know, the success of the strategy is a shared KPI, but whatever it is. But you hear what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about toxic teams, the theme is they have not been managed properly. I'm not talking about being likable or cheerful or being Mr. or Mrs. Popular. I'm talking about the instruments that we use to be able to create safety for our teams, being, let's improve your interpersonal skills, let's coach you through to make sure you're getting good feedback so you can aspire and be the best you can be, along with looking at our work products and making sure that we're doing this as smoothly and as effectively as possible so we can link up to a bigger picture. Toxic team, something's broken in at least one of those. At least one of them. Sometimes more. Sometimes it's all of it on it. So what can you do if you're the manager? So you've had someone like me come in and you're like, your team have gone, oh, she's here. We don't like her. It's fine. I'm used to it. But just say you then get a report that comes back and says, dude, the maturity level of your team around the interpersonal skills is below acceptable standards. Just below. We've done a quick look at the things that we look for: conflict management. How well and effectively do they manage it? How well and effectively do they manage work? Time management is a big one. Or does work just randomly expand and I don't know, all that type of stuff. But if you get a report that says that your team are performing under an acceptable level on that front, you have to rapidly do a couple of things. One, get your team meetings back in place. Team meetings are important two-way communication models, and everyone likes going to them. They probably don't like going to them because they're poorly run, right? But your team meeting should be a space to talk about risk, safety, two-way communication, letting people be held accountable to celebrate the success of progress against the team's, whatever the team is being funded to deliver on that front. That's it. That's the public one. Second thing you need to do is put in regular one-on-ones with an agenda that allows for good, positive, trusting feedback around performance on any one of those two, or maybe both, axes. Does that make sense? So we're actually going to create a space that says, hey, you're doing really well here. This is great here. This part here, maybe we could tweak this, whatever. They are done privately. You do not mix the two up, friends. You reward and praise in public. You give feedback that might people feel awkward in private. And when I say private, I mean private, not with one other person there, one-on-one. And you hold someone's back. You make yourself trustworthy by caring for these people. Because without safety, without understanding that someone's got their back, your people will never ever progress, and your work will never, ever get better. Okay, so that's our little observation from us around the magic of re-engineering. And while we all look like magicians, we are not. I apologize for anyone who perhaps is sad now, knowing there is no magical genie. We get taught on all of these things, very basic things. Toxic teams are either interpersonal skills haven't been dealt with, or their work products haven't been managed properly, and then all the things that disappear over time are exacerbating it. Hope that helps. If you're a team member within a toxic team, I don't know, start your own one-on-ones, start doing your own self, get a coach or a mentor if your boss is too busy or, I don't know, too disinterested. Do not allow yourself to normalize to this. Your career is too important. You're too important for your mental health and your mental, I don't know, all of it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. And if you follow the previous one, I'm going to get my hair fixed. This is possibly one of the worst haircuts I've had in a decade. Paid a lot of money for it too. Okay. Have a lovely day out there, friends.